This is not appropriate for me to start with the peace greeting, so I'm not going to. Suffice this to say, look, number one, shout out to Dr. T.S. Hunt Johnson. He went live with his stream, and it was entitled "What's the Reason Black Males Are So Tolerant?" I think it's subjected to undue disrespect. And in there, he played evidences of the disrespect. One was identified to me as a skit, but shout out to Cortez Smith too, because Cortez Smith explained two things. Number one, running a barbershop has taught him that this is real. The skit in which the wife goes home with a boyfriend while the husband's out there working, she ain't gotta work, and she cheats. That's one. So it's a skit. And it seems to be. But Cortez says, no, this is really going on. Cortez explains something else too. Shout out to him for it. Mr. Smith, I appreciate you explaining these things. He says that when women do cheat, they get a bigger thrill. Notice, not everybody cheats, but he says that when a wife cheats, she gets a bigger thrill out of cheating on a man that doesn't deserve it than she does on a man who's trifling and she should cheat on him. So he works and he doesn't indulge in other women. She's more likely to take a thrill from cheating on him if she's going to cheat at all. Of course, there are women that don't cheat. They'll leave before they do it. We don't know how many or how few they are. If they were like that, they can't really say that in front of women that they know very well. Because the sisterhood does not promote anything that is good for men anymore. But this is an important thing. Excuse me. This is an important thing for us to keep in mind. And this is a fear. Instinctively, a lot of you men know this. You decided that you're going to be responsible. You're not going to be an IDNS. You're going to do your job as a husband and as a dad if you become one. Instinctively, subconsciously maybe, or consciously, but certainly instinctively, you actually fear being cheated on more than if you were just a no-good knucklehead ninja and she had to work to take care of you. If you don't think that she would cheat if you were the one laying on the couch, eating up her food and driving her car around while she's at work, you would not feel that way. But when you are the responsible one, you have more of a fear of this. Stop and ask yourself. Now, a lot of us weren't aware of this, but now that I mentioned it, a lot of you are. Stop and ask yourselves what the reason is for that. Because Mr. Smith told us how they feel when they do get to a point of cheating. Now, this answers Attorney Spurling's question. And Attorney Spurling's question is the black woman the enemy? And his answer is that they're generally not, but that the IDNS are the enemy. He says Pookie and Ray Ray, and he means by that criminals with victims. I'd simply use IDNS to be more specific, because IDNS stands for something that would cause a man to have victims. The point I'm making is he and I both have the same ideas about who needs to be executed and taken out. Certain crimes demand that anyway. Trafficking in serious drugs, serious narcotics, and the Sharia, when you can prove someone has done that, they're supposed to be executed. You smuggle drugs into a lot of the Gulf nations, it can happen. Saudi's real strict about it. Absolutely. They're serious about that. I heard they're not that serious about weed, but about any other drugs, oh yeah, they will catch you, send you to Riyadh with them drugs, put you in front of a judge and say, he brought these drugs in, and you get executed. Now cut your head off of that. They don't play about trafficking in drugs. Singapore, I heard, will do that. They shoot you at the airport, according to what one guy told me. I don't know how true it is, but that's just what somebody told me. That in Indonesia is similar. And I doubt that it's that bad, but you know what? I'm okay with it. If you can prove someone did it. So in any case, I wanted to point this out too, and that is that he says that they're the enemy, but not so much the sister. I would say that no, if she's validating that, I mean, Atari made it clear where she stands. That's the enemy. It's not that the sister is your enemy. It is that the ones who are hybristophilic are the enemy. We just don't know, is that 80% or 20% or is it 60? We don't know what the percentage is of sisters that actually champion that, but it's too many. Whether it's 30% and they're just loud and they seem to be the majority, or rather they're the majority, whatever the case is, that's the enemy. Whatever the percentage is, that's the enemy too. They're the same enemy. He robs you and tells you better not snitch, and she hides him. Then she sees you and she's like, you got robbed, didn't you? I heard you had to give everything up like a butter lich. Now that was a spoonerism. And she's sitting up trying to interrupt him. When you gonna do it? When you gonna do it? What you gonna do? She wants him to give his plan up ahead of time, so she can go run either to the cops herself, because, hey, who gonna do something to her for snitching? Also, she can run over to the IDNS. Mr. Robber. Oh, you fine. Listen, they got this dude talking crap about you. That's exactly how it goes. And she even says, well, see, nowadays, I get paid by the 1%. So she's sitting up bragging about how the responsible man has to pay for the IDNS to play. She said it. Did I not say this months ago, years ago? And she bragged about it on Obsidian. That's an enemy. And if your mother or your grandma lied to you about this, she's your enemy. You ain't got to go to war with her. I'm with Mr. Spurling on that. I'm not here to go to war with my grandmother, my mother. But if they lied to you, they already went to war with you. Because they wanted you to be like the other lady's son, of whom she was making fun in the other video that Dr. Johnson played. I didn't see it. I was laying down with my eyes closed listening, but I heard it. I found his toy. Laughing at him. If that bothers her, then why doesn't she go to him and tell him the truth so that he can become a ladies' man? I'm the one that would take issue with that if she did it, only because I'm not with that fornication. But in that society, even to marry, you got to be somewhat of a ladies' man. Why doesn't she go and tell him what he needs to know? Because she knows she'd have to tell on herself. She's already at war with her son. The fact that she would take this, put it on, record it, and laugh, she's already at war with him. At the very least, reproductively. I hope to God he never marries a sister. Not a NATO sister. Not a Western sister, period. I'm going to close it out by saying this. The absence of an appropriate punishment will increase the numbers of those who wind up deserving it. And you know exactly what this gets at. Thank you for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it in black patriarchy until extinction or judgment.